Gary Chapman originally proposed his theory of 5 love languages in 1995 with the publication of his book. It is titled The 5 Love Languages. I included a link to this book in the description for the video. He claimed that the list of 5 love languages were exhaustive, meaning that there were only 5. However, there has been a lack of research to really substantiate this claim. When we look at these 5 love languages, these are ways that we express and experience love. Chapman calls them love languages and identifies them as receiving gifts, quality time, words of affirmation, acts of service or devotion, and physical touch. So according to his theory, everyone has a primary love language and a secondary love language. He suggests that to discover another person's love language, one must really observe the way that they express love to others and analyze what they complain about most often and what they request most often from their significant other. However, the MBTI personalities give us a little bit of an insight into how we react to each of these love languages and which ones we prefer the most. When we look at the quality time, this language is all about giving the other person undivided attention. That means you kind of have to put away that cell phone or the book or turn the TV off. They really, unlike those words of affirmation, they really don't care about it because they kind of feel like talk is cheap and that being a loved one's main focus is about quality time. They feel satisfied and comforted through that time. So distractions or when you have to postpone a date or even a failure to listen is very, very hurtful to these personality types, and they find it to be very cruel. So being there for them becomes a crucial part of their personality, their love language, and understanding. To this kind of love language, this is personal touch, not just keeping in touch, but the personal touch, that physical touch. And nothing speaks more deeply to them than that appropriate touch. And it doesn't mean just intimate touch, but the everyday physical connections. They like to hand hold, they like kissing, they like that little touch on the small of their back. And any kind of reaffirming physical contact is going to be very appreciated for these personality types. So a person who speaks the language of physical touch isn't really someone who likes all those public displays of affection, and they really don't have to be touchy-feely all the time, but they do have to have some kind of touch in order to really feel love. As we move on to getting gifts, what makes these personalities is most love is to receive a tangible gift. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily materialistic, but it means that it's something meaningful or thoughtful. Do something like giving them a letter might help because it's a gift. How about as you're walking through the store, you see their favorite candy bar. Picking up their favorite candy bar. It's only $1. It wouldn't hurt them, but it's going to make them feel very appreciated. Try a flower. Just even picking something out of the garden on your way into the house makes a big difference for these personality types. Words of affirmation is really a way in which some people enjoy and feel the language of love. And they prefer hearing I love you and compliments. They like to know that they're valued. And the words really have great value for them. And they also have the opposite side. So looking at the contrast, anything that's very negative or insulting is going to be very, very hard for them to forgive. It's going to make them wonder what they're doing there and why they are involved at all in that kind of a relationship. Lastly, when we look at the service-oriented, these are personalities where actions speak louder than words. And people who speak this language of service, they want their partner to recognize that life can be difficult and they want some help in any way possible. And that could be lending a hand to show that you care. What would it take for you to rinse your dish and stick it in the dishwasher? Little things like that show that you care. Or as you walk up the driveway, you see a rock that belongs in the garden. Kick it into the garden. Those little things make a difference. And people who thrive on this kind of language don't do very well with broken promises. Because every time a promise is broken, it's perceived as being nothing more than laziness. And they have very little tolerance for people who are going to create more work for them. So if you're not willing to really show your appreciation by doing them a favor, then honestly, you're saying that you simply don't value them.